So today we're going to talk about two of the most powerful characters in the DC universe, Superman versus Shazam. So let's get started because we have a lot to talk about. So rocketed to Earth as an infant from the doomed planet of Krypton, Kal-El was adopted by the loving Kent family and raised in America's heartland as Clark Kent. Using his immense solar-fueled powers, he became Superman to defend mankind against all manner of threats, while championing truth, justice, in the American way. Because he's a Kryptonian, Clark is able to absorb the solar energy from yellow stars in order to gain his incredible powers. Superman has the ability to lift incredible amounts of weight, being able to pull the weight of the Earth before and helping to lift the Book of Eternity, which contained all the books in the universe, so an unprecedented weight. He also has the ability to move and fly incredibly fast. It can even go faster than the speed of light. The upper limits of Superman's speed are unknown, but it is usually generally accepted that he is a bit slower than the Flash. Clark is also capable of combining his speed with dexterity to pull off complicated tasks in an incredibly short time frame. In battle, he's able to move so fast that even his opponents seem slower in comparison, creating time for him to avoid attacks and plan his next move. Superman possesses an immense degree of invulnerability and is able to withstand bullets, missiles, bombs, and countless other weapons without a scratch. He's even been able to survive destructive power on a cosmic level. Although hurting Superman with purely physical force is very difficult, characters like Darkseid, Doomsday, or Shazam are strong enough to do so. He also has super senses, such as the ability to hear anything at all volumes and pitches, and the ability to see down to the microscopic level. Clark's physiology allows him to convert stored solar energy into beams of highly concentrated thermal energy, which can reach temperatures comparable to those produced by stars. He can also suck in large amounts of air into his lungs, and either hold it in there or create strong forces of wind with it. He's even able to control the temperature with which he expels this wind, creating his freeze breath. Superman has knowledge in hand-to-hand combat, with the most basic being boxing and wrestling. He's also trained himself in several different forms of Kryptonian martial arts. He's even been trained in pressure points by the world's greatest expert, Batman. Superman is still immortal, though, and because of that, still vulnerable to the workings of magic. It's not necessarily a weakness like kryptonite, but magic does affect him just the same way it would affect other mortals or humans, which is weird because Clark is just as vulnerable to magic as Batman or Flash, yet magic isn't listed as a weakness for these two or other mortal heroes. And in the other corner we have Shazam. Young Billy Batson has been deemed worthy of becoming the champion of the ancient wizard. Whenever he utters the word Shazam, he's struck by a magical thunderbolt and gains the powers and abilities of Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, and Mercury, and transforms into magic's champion, the world's mightiest mortal, Shazam. He's been gifted with the wisdom of Solomon, which grants Billy great knowledge, perception, comprehension, and insight. Solomon is actually able to speak to Billy during his times of need. It also grants him many intellectual abilities, and he's also gifted with a photographic memory, he's omnilinguistic, and he also has an advanced knowledge of war strategy and tactics. He's been gifted with the strength of Hercules, who is the strongest of all the gods. Billy is empowered with Herc's basically limitless superhuman strength, which is often compared to Superman. He's capable of lifting unbelievably massive objects, even on a planetary scale. Shazam has matched Wonder Woman in raw strength, has stalemated Superman in an arm wrestling match, and was also able to help lift the Book of Eternity, along with Superman. He also has the stamina of Atlas, the Titan, who is capable of bearing the heavens on his shoulders. This means that while he's Shazam, Billy doesn't need to eat, sleep, drink, or even breathe. The godly energies that power Billy are also able to sustain him and prevent any kind of fatigue toxins from building up in his body. This grants him virtually inexhaustible amounts of endurance, regardless of how strenuous the physical activity actually is. Shazam is gifted with all the power of Zeus, the most powerful of all the gods. Through Zeus, Shazam has high levels of magical resistance and can call down the lightning that changes him back and forth from his two personas. He's even able to use this lightning as a weapon before, calling it down and then dodging the blast, allowing it to strike his opponent. The power of Zeus is really kind of vast and hard to describe completely. It may be used to augment some of Shazam's other abilities, like giving him the wisdom of Solomon and Zeus, the strength of Hercules and Zeus, and the stamina of Atlas plus the immortality of Zeus. Billy also has the courage of Achilles, which grants him incredible inner strength and confidence. He also has an unbelievably high level of invulnerability that puts him on the same level as Superman. Finally, he's been given all the speed of Mercury, swiftest of all the gods. This power allows him to fly, and he also has incredible speed, which is said to possibly surpass Superman and even rival the Flash. So who wins this fight? Well, let's break it down. These two have fought countless times throughout the comics, and both have won their fair share of the matches. And it's really difficult for me to gauge these two and determine the winner, because they are so similar in power levels. Superman is basically Shazam powered by the sun, and Shazam is basically Superman powered by magic. I know that's not entirely accurate, but it kind of shows just how similar in power these two really are. Now, since they're so similar in power, the question we need to ask is, since Shazam is powered by magic, how does that affect Clark? Now, Wonder Woman's sword and tiara are magical, and I've been able to cut Clark in the past. So it looks like in some ways, magic takes away his invulnerability. So the question is, shouldn't Shazam completely overwhelm Superman, since he's powered by magic? Well, not necessarily. It really depends on how the magic works. When Shazam hits him, is Kal-El being hit by magic, or is he just being hit by a fist? Is magic just the fuel source behind Billy's powers, or is it a magical item affecting the natural laws around it? Well, I would say it's just a magical source. Let me give you a comparison. Let's say that Superman has a vulnerability to electricity, and was hit by a robot that was powered by electricity. That's going to have a very different effect on Supes than, say, getting hit by a bolt of electricity. The same could be said for Shazam's fists and his bolt of lightning. And let's just talk about these bolts for a second here, because they could change the course of this whole battle. The lightning is going to affect Clark, and it's going to hurt. But I don't think it's going to put him down first blow. He's held up to magical items before, and he still has his incredibly high level of durability and invulnerability. I mean, he is Superman after all. But several of these lightning bolts, and Superman is going to be really, really hurting. But he's a smart fighter, and he might end up being able to use these lightning bolts to his favor. You see, the lightning is designed to turn Billy into Shazam and vice versa, and Shazam is having to dodge these bolts, allowing them to hit his opponent. So Superman was able to hold on to Shazam for long enough and allow him to be hit with his own lightning, that Shazam turns into Billy, and all Clark has to do is cover the kid's mouth, and he wins the fight. So that's one way that Superman is able to win. He also just has much more fighting and combat experience than Billy. Yeah, Billy has all the wisdom of Solomon, and that grants him access to an advanced knowledge of war strategy and tactics. But he's still a little kid, and that naivety and just overall childishness is going to break through eventually, especially in a hard, long, drag-out fight like this will be. So in my opinion, Superman takes the victory. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts on who wins this battle. So sound off down in the comments down below. And if you have any ideas for future battles, sound off down there too. And finally, be sure to hit the subscribe button for more videos just like this one every single week.